Hi, my name is Dawn. I am doing my developmental psychology presentation on aggression in emerging adulthood. So, aggression is just generally defined as the intent to harm. Um, it specifically is defined by Ostrov and Houston as the intent to hurt, harm, or injure another person. Sun and colleagues defined it as angry or violent feelings or behavior that involve the intent to inflict harm on others. Aggression is a universal trait in that it is seen to some degree across all genders, races, and cultures. So, expressions of aggressive behavior is expected to change over developmental time. As Nelson and colleagues stated, it emerges and peaks early in life and gradually is replaced by verbal aggression as verbal capacities increase. And Ostrov and Houston um, they also touched on the changes of aggression over time, and that physical aggression tends to drop off dramatically after early childhood. But for a subset of children, chronic aggression does continue through adolescence and beyond. So I decided to focus on the developmental phase of emerging adulthood. Individualism, emerging adulthood is characterized by a transitional period in Western industrialized cultures when 18 to 25-year-olds are gaining this independence from their caregivers and they're pursuing individualistic oriented goals and entering into more intimate relationships, both peer and romantic, and engaging in relatively high risky behavior. And these intimate relationships can be both peer and romantic. And 18 or not 18, 8% of teens report partner victimization. And by the time we reach emerging adulthood, victimization has increased to 25%. So, this just shows an importance of research in this study because there is obviously something that's there if just going from teenage years to emerging adult years, there's suddenly such a large increase in aggression. So, this research and looking further into that is important just to try to find um, whatever changes there might be, whether it's the life experiences that someone might be going through, or um, it could be hormonal changes or any range of things that it could be resulting from. So the aggression belief norms, there's definitely a set of norms that we are kind of programmed by. Um, So Nelson and Bean did a study where they wanted to focus on. They were wondering, do normative beliefs of aggression interactions in emerging adult relationships differ as a function of gender? They use a coding scheme measure to measure what emerging adults think that most people do when they seek to harm others. Um, they use a coding scheme which coded for verbal aggression, avoiding nonverbal aggression, as well as passive aggression, which is behavior that is intended to hurt the victim and to shield the perpetrator from the appearance of anger and wanting to harm the victim. This study included 134 students who were ages 18 to 25, 44% male and 56% female. So there was a pretty good representation of both genders in this study. But this study did focus on 90% of whites. So it was more focused on one race as opposed to more of a broader spectrum. Um, Participants were to answer four open ended questions that were regarding what college students do to be mean to each other. And these questions were related to male to male aggression, male to female aggression, female to female aggression, and female to male aggression. And as I have listed here, I have um, the types of aggression that were cited most commonly. So for male to male aggression, most commonly was verbal and direct physical aggression. In female or male to female aggression, verbal aggression was the top most cited, and indirect relational aggression came in close second. And with female to female aggression, indirect relational aggression was number one for frequency and being cited, while verbal aggression came in second. And in female to male aggression, ignoring and avoiding nonverbal behavior and verbal aggression um, both both led for frequency that they were cited. And this study didn't seem to show any difference in gender perceptions of male or female violence. So they had initially they initially started wanting to look and see if there was a difference there, but they saw pretty early on that there was no difference, and combined their results in that way. So, Ostrov and Houston conducted a study that focused on aggression and psychopathic traits. And psychopathic traits just meaning any mental illness. They wanted to look at the association between four aggression subtypes and indicators of personality pathology. And the four aggression subtypes they are referring to are both proactive and reactive physical and relational aggression. And reactive aggression is in response to a perceived threat or provocation, while proactive aggression is seeking a reward, for instance, a robbery. This study included 679 emerging adults ages 18 to 23. There were 334 females and 338 males. So, this study again had a good representation of both genders. This study measured proactive and reactive physical and relational aggression, as well as impulsive and premeditated characteristics, which were associated with an individual's physically aggressive acts over the last 6 months. They assessed 8 core personality traits of psychopathology, and they also had participants answer true false questions, which yielded symptom counts for which were consistent with DSM-4 criteria for Axis 2 disorders. So, this study's results presented that reactive relational aggression was a negative predictor of fearless dominance, which is a characteristic of psychopathy, and males scored higher in fearless dominance. Impulsive antisocial factor was positively associated with proactive aggressive behaviors, meaning the more impulsive a person tended to be, the more likely they were to exhibit physically aggressive behaviors. So, Guerra and White also conducted a study that focused on aggression and psychopathic traits. They looked to assess the interplay between psychopathy and anger rumination, as well as the role of gender in determining the subtypes of aggression in young adults. Um, they used 610 undergraduate students who were ages 18 to 20, 73% female, 85% Caucasian. So there was a bit of an imbalance here as far as the gender and the race. So this study measured anger rumination, which is a tendency to focus attention on angry moods, recall past anger experiences, and think about the causes and consequences of anger episodes, as well as reactive and proactive aggression and traits of psychopathy. And this study found that psychopathy was more strongly associated with physical aggression and relational aggression, as the researchers had hypothesized. And men and non Caucasians reported higher scores of relational aggression, physical aggression, psychopathy, and anger rumination than women and Caucasians. So, Sun and colleagues wanted to explore negative life experiences, the effects of negative life experiences on aggression in earlier adulthood. They used 306 third-year college students ages 19 to 26, 106 males and 200 females. Um, they they measured negative life experiences and that they explored the impact of negative life experiences within the past 12 months of students' lives. And they also measured neuroticism. The results of this study found that negative life experiences and neuroticism directly positively predicted aggression. Negative life experiences partly mediate the relationship between neuroticism and aggression, and neuroticism um, partly mediates the relationship between negative life experiences and aggression. Neuroticism did directly increase the level of aggression, and via individuals greater exposure to daily conflicts or negative life experiences, it directly exacerbated aggression. Trait aggression positively related to negative life experiences and neuroticism, and individuals exposed to more negative life experiences in the past 12 months presented relatively more aggressive emotions and behaviors. Alvera Hammond and colleagues conducted a study just to assess whether gainful activity and partner asymmetries in gainful activity influence frequency of intimate partner aggression, as well as whether gender of gainful active partner influences intimate partner aggression when only one partner was gainfully active. And in this study, gainful activity is defined as being enrolled in school or full time employment. And they look at relationships as either dating, cohabitating, or marital unions. And they examined self reports for respondents on their own and their partner's involvement in antisocial activities from the Toledo Adolescent Relationships Study. So, researchers in this study measured intimate partner aggression frequency, gainful activity, relationship characteristics, which included having children, union type, and relationship duration. And to measure antisocial behaviors, respondents reported their own and their partner's delinquency. Participants reported their view of parental caring based on 5 statements that were asked during their first interview. And demographics included family structure, parent education, age, race or ethnicity, and gender. There were 405 reports of physical aggression in respondents' current relationship. Um, 700 and or I'm sorry, 76% males were gainfully active and 75% females were gainfully active, while 61% reported that both were gainfully active. Men reported a higher frequency of aggression than women, and both types of asymmetry associated with greater frequency of aggression, and neither partner being gainfully active was associated with the highest frequency of aggression. And asymmetry just meaning that one is gainfully active while the other isn't. And this study did show racial differences in that Black and Hispanics had a higher frequency of partner aggression compared to whites. So, just in conclusion, relationally manipulative behaviors have been perceived to be salient for the social functioning of emergent adults, and reliance on stereotypical behavior has been found across the studies, and finding that men engage in less relational aggression could potentially be because of their reliance on stereotypical behavior, and women may readily engage in direct physical aggression if the behavior seems to be justified or the social situation is sufficiently comfortable to allow it. And regarding the finding that women engage in indirect aggression most commonly, this indirect aggression allows for covert female engagement and competitive behaviors while maintaining um, the idea of being a cooperative social partner. Um, in the future, efforts should be made to decrease individuals' perceived negative life experiences and curb their neuroticism to prevent the occurrence of violence. Um, the idea has also been proposed of decreasing aggression by increasing mindfulness, because dispositional mindfulness has appeared to play a role in moderating neuroticisms effects, and identifying and intervening with young adults who may be at elevated risk for physically violent acts. Um, should be a focus, and targeting anger rumination and treatment may help to reduce the risk of physical aggression. There was a study that found that economic factors relating to gainful activities lead to an increased risk of relationship conflict. So it's important to understand the implications um, of the economic realities of young adults when they are involved in intimate relationships, and as economic disparities are common across races. Future studies should focus on reasons behind higher levels of aggression among non Caucasian young adults. Here are my references, and thank you so much for watching.